Welcome and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Golden Llama Show. Today we have Edita Mockute with us, and Edita is guiding entrepreneurs from pride to sustainable success with potent, empowered marketing. And Sally, how are you?
I'm very good. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me today to have a chat. I know it's going to be awesome. I'm honored to be here. I'm super excited for what's coming from our conversation.
Without further ado, could you tell me what is soul marketing?
Soul marketing. That actually a long story. So a little bit of myself. When I decided to become an online entrepreneur, I got obsessed with online marketing. And I thought it was I was learning, getting into these strategies and methods, scripts and frameworks and that kind of stuff. It was never enough. There was yet another strategy. There was always another script. There was always another framework. Something inside of me was not quite clicking the way entrepreneurs are told. Just do it on social, on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever, in videos, just do you. And I'm like, in the beginning was, yeah, that sounds so cool. Now finally I can do me, as opposed to when I was in corporate with all the politics and all the office games and all the imposed values and stuff like that, which I always hated and which was part of the reason why I left 9 to 5. So it sounded good, just do use it. So awesome. And then eventually I realized actually, well, what does it look like? What does it look like for me personally? I was a mom to a small daughter. I got into this mindset of grinding like crazy. So everything combined, the grind, the motherhood, it just became this whole big puzzle. One day I just felt that I lost myself. And I remember in 2020, and what happened in 2020, right? And I don't do New Year resolution, but I was sitting in the kitchen in our house back in Ireland and thinking, oh my God, I do not know who I am anymore. What is going on? Just do you sounds so cool, but what is that? How does it feel? I am not myself. I'm not being myself. I'm not showing up as myself, and I'm not stepping into my power. And the whole thing feels off. I'm not feeling authentic and all those kind of things. Maybe the audience can resonate with that. But anyways, I decided this year is gonna be the year of getting myself back. And then what happened in 2020? Pandemic happened. So now everybody was at home again. My daughter used to go to what we call a play school in Ireland for only 3 hours a day, but still 3 hours a day. I could do my own stuff. Now she was at home full time. My partner was at home full time. And everything went from bad to even worse. I remember there was no peaceful corner in the house. We couldn't go anywhere. And I lost myself even more. It was crazy. It was just a disaster. When I think back, I don't know how I even survived. Like, it was really tough. It's not to complain, it's just to say that I realized that when people do not feel the misalignment and the lack of connection between how they are showing up and who they really are. Some people do, and I did, but I couldn't pinpoint where exactly to find that connection, how to click things together. So anyway, but I kept doing things. I'm an entrepreneur, kept learning things. I kept getting results. I became a world-class copywriter and marketer. I got invited to join a world-class online marketing team, which in theory was so cool. And everybody was saying, oh my God, how did you get on that team? Oh my God, how did you get this client? And so on. And I used to think, sit and, oh wow, in theory, that's really cool. But why do I not feel much emotion about it? Why do I not feel very good about it? And fast forward a couple of years, I guess, I was sitting on the couch, binge watching some YouTube videos, still grinding like crazy, also disturbed by all sorts of different events in life, death in the family, moving countries, and things like that. And then suddenly I get this message from the universe. And because we used to talk with my daughter about her doing her own thing and reaching for full potential, and so basically maybe becoming an entrepreneur, running her own thing instead of getting a job. At least I want her to know all the possibilities in the world. This message said, you do not want this for your daughter. And by this, the grind, feeling inferior, not feeling together, not feeling connected, not feeling like it's you who is showing up. And then that thought, that message was immediately followed by another message, which said, if it's so bad, why are you doing this to yourself? And for the first time in forever or ever, I actually felt really sorry for that woman that I was embodying. By the way, we're not allowed to feel sorry for yourself. It's not cool. And I was not allowing to do that. I felt I was, in that moment, I knew I was so unfair to myself. I was in this place where I was grinding because things were not clicking fully, and I was longing that deep sense of connection showing up as myself. In that moment, though, I got this message hit me very hard, but many answers did not come. But at that very moment, it took days for the answers to come to me. But in that very moment, I realized that I'm worthy. That sense of confidence depends on those external factors, external validation, external praise, external things that people tell you about you. However, if you are not feeling worthy, that external stuff does not help. So in that moment, I felt worthy. In that moment, I felt sorry for myself that I hadn't been feeling worthy all that time. And I guess you feel you are worthy just because you are, just because you exist. And I literally felt that. And that was the start of me getting on this other path and embracing soul marketing. I'm a marketer. I'm a world-class marketer. And yet now I happen to go a little bit against this stream, saying that most of the marketing in the world is ego-based. It markets to people's egos. And this whole psychology thing and whatever, it's really ego psychology, what our ego wants. Problems with your ego and whatever, all these promising these tangible results, these numbers, the number of leads, the number of sales, the number of this and that and whatever, where you and I know that it's not even about that. It's what behind the whole thing, behind the ego, it's the happiness, the peace, all those kind of things. It's hard to promise that because we can't measure, but there is that quote. I can't remember who said it. I don't remember the accurate words, but it says something. Not everything that's measurable is important. And what's
In
important,
fact, you know,
important can be measured. Something along those lines.
in fact, if you think about it, if you constantly need to measure things, it's a sign that you do not trust yourself. But I wanted to ask you something different. At the beginning of your journey, do you think you use this grinding as a coping mechanism so you can escape from embracing who you truly are?
I think it's more like I was not aware that I was conditioned that way.
Thank you.
I was a new student in marketing. I loved it. I loved the psychology behind it. I loved working with words and phrases, metaphors, analogies, those kind of things. I totally love it because I had experience with meditation kind of state and stuff like that. I knew there was a disconnect. Eventually, I realized that there is a disconnect. And I really wanted to feel connected, but I could not find how to do it. As can't force it, right? It needs to come. What I did not realize when you say a coping mechanism, subconsciously, maybe, probably. So, also, I think in a way, my business was an escape. Like, I really loved it anyway. From the very beginning, I was so driven. And when things were tough in other areas of my life, I remember where I was feeling good enough was at my desk, at my laptop, doing my stuff, learning the strategies, learning the things that I was conditioned to. I thought it was the truth, following those strategies, learning the framework, and fitting everything else into the frameworks. I was conditioned to believe that was the truth. Now is the other way around. Now, and that's why it's soul marketing. Now your soul needs to lead. It's you who needs to lead. It's your truth that needs to lead. Then we do the strategies and frameworks to give it shape. So the two worlds meet really to manifest whatever you want to manifest into this world.
You mentioned that there is soul marketing and ego marketing, and most of the people use their ego. Wouldn't it make sense to market using ego so it reaches other people's egos because you have bigger reach?
It's a good point, very good point. And there is this thing, sell them what they want, give them what they need. However, it depends. You still want to choose the markets, the audience that is not too far. At least they are curious about
Mm.
going deeper. At least because otherwise, I don't know if you think about somebody. If I thought about my granny, right? My grandmother, I love her. She's not here anymore, but I love her. But I don't know how much work I would need to put into sort of converting her to this other side. There needs to be a level of consciousness, a level of awareness. They've tried this and that, mainstream personal development, potentially. They've tried to manifest things. They maybe even tried to meditate and it's not working because of all the subconscious stuff going on and they might not be aware, but at least they are curious. Yes, you still need to combine. And a good question, because I was thinking about that actually over the last 2 days. Exactly that. Market to their ego and then coach on the level of their soul or lead them to that. But it depends on who you want to attract to your world as well. Like you don't want to attract people who are completely hopeless.
I love that phrase. You need to be careful who you attract because the thoughts and emotions will impact who you are. And I'm gonna ask you a question. It might be a tricky question. What about those people that think that soul is this mumbo jumbo term? How would you approach that?
Nothing, just nothing. Like they have the right to be the way they are. It's not meant maybe for them to go to a different level or over many different levels in this lifetime. I don't know. They are adults as well. They are responsible for their own decisions and choices. If they're completely separated from this thing that we are doing and the some level of consciousness and awareness, then let them be. Can you help them? I still believe that we can help who we can help. There are so many people who you can help either way. So let's work with them. I see these people all over the place now. I think it is growing. I think it's growing, this kind of mentality. I think the field is growing. I think it's cool. There are enough people to work with.
You cannot force a flower to bloom. And in this scenario, I think what would happen to fully explain that to this person, you would have to become on his level. And due to this action, you yourself will lose things. So by giving that person and forcing that person to bloom, you, on the other hand, lose things as you lose your growth. But tell me, how do you know that someone is ready to make this jump? I'm finally able to embrace my ego. What do I do next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another mumbo jumbo kind of thing. So in a way you feel, don't you? I guess the tricky part is to we still have this physical, this tangible presence online, on social, working with people. So we pick what we say to attract to at least pique interest for certain people. There is something you can do with words, like with even, let's say, when I say soul empowered marketing and selling, some people will resonate with that. Some people will be like, what are you talking about? So you filter people by saying that. And actually, I'm still working out what words do I say? Some words that I used to use in my marketing, I find now almost like disgusting, or some concepts or things like about like grind and discipline, doing whatever it takes, pushing and forcing yourself and those kind of things. Though I speak against,
Do you think you've grown down?
I'm not part of that world. As in, and what do we say? What is that world? Maybe we need to define it, right? Ego driven, marketing, business, thinking, coming up with solutions, and how you are presenting yourself and showing up out of thinking rather than flow, intuition, feeling, leading with what resonates with you, what comes from your knowingness, what that's and you are rooted in that truth, and everything else is just an opinion or their own truth, but it doesn't really matter. This place is where there is no such thing as rejection. If I know what I know and I know it, then I don't care if somebody has a different opinion. It's not even, this is where it becomes not personal, for real, for real. I don't care. I'm not into politics, but the way people are into politics and they belong to the party or to the wing or whatever, and they don't care what the other ones are saying. They think, oh, stay with your truth, whatever, live with that. So in terms of outgrown, I just don't want to use the stuff that kind of conveys judging from the ego. I'm absolutely happy knowing that my level of awareness is high enough for me to get on this path and stay on this path and make it my life's work being on this path. So many people are not even aware of those things. So I'm happy that I'm on this path. And for me, the truth is what truly makes people happy. And
In simple words, where is the line between the ego and the soul?
so I don't have a definition. When I say soul, it's also a sort of a conventional word. It doesn't really, you know,
Yeah,
it's
words itself mean only what we assign to them. And there are so many issues with communication due to that because we describe words differently.
yeah, but and also actually even before the downloads from the universe, I was playing with identities in marketing, and I absolutely love the idea. For a long time, I was already doing that with my clients, helping them become the person who actually can do the thing. Because no
Mm.
matter a good a strategy is, if you are not the kind of person who can execute for XYZ reason, which is not technical reasons, it's more about limiting beliefs and all those kind of things, then those strategies are not going to do good for you. That's the reason why different people get different results with the same strategies. So I was fascinated about those things anyway, but then I used to see it as moving from this identity to that identity, from identity A to identity B. Right now, for me, it's more like remembering who you are. It's not even the matter of any identity. Egos need identity. It's like ego, when you work from your ego, you try to convince yourself that you are this person now. And because of that, it's not even stable. It's not stable. Something happens outside of your field of you convincing yourself, and suddenly your ego collapses or is affected. When you remember who you are, that's a complete different story. That's the soul. And then, like I said, there's no such thing as rejection. That's where the true power is. And that's where you step into your power.
Those identities, I call them masks. And people wear masks all the time because not only society program us, but some of those masks are on our faces because we use them to run away from pain because we
Mhm.
have some trauma, we have something that someone has done to us many years ago, and we haven't processed that fully. And the thing is, that pain is exactly where we need to go, exactly what we need to work through. So we no longer carry that. It's like
Mhm.
you have on your back very heavy backpack. Not only that, you have the lenses on your face through which you see only glimpses of the real reality that has been created by the trauma in your backpack. And once you can let go all of that, your life is completely different. You realize that what you have been looking for your whole life has been right in front of your nose, but you couldn't see it because you have been blinded by this trauma or negative limiting
Mhm.
belief. So then no strategy or technique would work for you because you haven't been a person that is ready to use that. But if you let go of those things, you realize that what you need to do is right in front of you, and it may be something different. Maybe Twitter or X is not working for you because you prefer long formats because it's more about transformation. Or maybe X is for you because you like to argue with your people. But if you use this copy and paste format, you will never experience yourself to the fullest. Not only that, sooner or later, you will have this existence full of grief and sadness. And then you're fighting yourself with the universe because there's you, there's your image, and there's the truth. Then what's going to happen? All of those paths are starting to create friction between themselves, and that creates heat. And that is what people call the burnout. You have no energy to move forward, and you're done.
Yeah, exactly. And also, what's interesting is, and this is the aspect that I'm analyzing or exploring in terms of what I do and how I help people, the whole thing comes across in your marketing, in your words, in your posts, and everything. And like I say, your energy is your best marketing hook. So you can follow whatever framework you want to write a post, and it might do quite a good job in terms of, okay, you are ticking all these. And I remember I used to understand how it works on the ego. I used to have a checklist. Okay, does your post have this and that, those kind of things? And which is true in terms of ego, but the thing, and here is the thing, you asked back to that topic, back to that thing, how do you market to your ego or to your soul? So perhaps the answer is both. Because if the ego that reads the word and pictures those tangible things, but it's your soul that feels the energy. And when people do not have the energy flowing, that comes across in their stuff, in their words, in their facial expressions, and in everything else. That's when their marketing falls flat. And for me right now, what I say is I'm obsessed about, or I'm on a mission to create a business that feels like freedom in the process. And then it brings the tangible result as a byproduct. If so you choose, and you choose what tangibles you want to have, whether you want to travel, whether you want cash in the bank account, or whatever you manifest, what you channel into this world, but you lead with your energy. And for you to lead with your energy, you need to feel good. You need to feel good right now, right here. And from that place, make your choices, decisions, do your marketing, do your content, and so on.
So be happy fast.
Exactly. And it's such a funny thing that you can absolutely do it. Yes, it's tricky in a way. Let's say you are in the place where you literally need to put food on the table. How do you start feeling happy? How do you raise your vibration from that kind of place? So it can be tough, but it can be done. It's tough until you understand or get a few tools that you can use. For example, like what I do in the morning, usually I wake up and I decide the emotion that I want to embrace for that day, whatever, joy, play, things like that. Do I get sidetracked? Of course I do get sidetracked. The game is to notice that and bring yourself back to what you said you want to feel.
You think it's possible, literally, to switch on and off some of the ego?
Broadly speaking, yeah. Is it easy?
How do you do it?
No, that's a good question. The main thing, the main tool that I've known for years, and I know there are more modalities now that I'm exploring, but the main tool that I've known for many years is meditation. However, when we say meditation, it's not a method. It's not sitting in the lotus pose and waiting. Meditation is a state of mind. And I can remember if I told you earlier my story that this state for me happens in while sitting in a casino in Australia, chatting to somebody over a cocktail. And I was actually laughing with my accountability buddy yesterday. I told him the same thing because I had forgotten. And he said, cocktail methods. Oh, there you go, cocktail methods. So I was not trying to do anything. I have no intention to suddenly move into that state.
Maybe that's what happens.
Exactly. That's the reality of it. We can do things to embrace certain level of vibration and frequency and emotion and stuff to thoughts. I notice I'm not thinking useful thoughts. Let me switch to other thoughts. My favorite method is either feel grounded, feel the gravity that I'm supported physically, or feel grateful for something, my daughter, home, whatever. But overall, you cannot force it.
If you plan on grow, the ego grows because you cannot force the soul to grow. We have been given tools to experience ourselves. It's the body, it's the mind, it's the emotion, and it's all for our advantage. But if we allow thoughts to use us, we're gonna overthink, we're gonna get petrified, and we're gonna think about living instead of living. The same thing happens with emotion. If we allow the emotions to be pent up within ourselves, it means we haven't processed them fully, and there's
Mhm.
trauma with it. And then the trauma will limit greatly what we can experience. For me, it's now that I'm using my mind and the mind is not using me. And I know then
Okay.
the soul is speaking, and all I need to do is not interfere with the process.
Mm.
Because the ego likes to plan, ego likes to have mission, goals, achievements, but soul already knows what the soul is and what the soul wants. And we are here to experience what the soul plans for us. So all we
Mhm.
can do is really not interfere with the process. If a dancer that dances greatly out of nowhere would start to overthink, second guess her movement, sooner or later she will fall and no one will be clapping. But if she can be dancing, then the show can go on. So either you live or you think about living.
Yeah, and that brought some memories. When I was in school, I was also going to music school and I was playing piano and I was a very good pianist until I needed to be on stage and play part of exams and get scored. I almost always used to make technical mistakes. As soon as I pictured a page with a note, is a mistake. Technically, I stumble, I forget. However, I used to get scored very well every time. Even teachers coming from higher school academy to watch the exams to always score me very well because I apparently performed as an artist very well. So they used to skip the technical stuff. I didn't realize that back then. Why is this like I made mistakes? But apparently it doesn't really matter that much.
But what a lesson. You can use it in marketing as well. That technicalities don't really matter. If you can just embrace the flow of life, you can squeeze in through those little holes that are not visible for others that operate totally on techniques, pages. They think that life has to be this particular way, but life is
Mhm.
limitless. The only thing that is rigid in this life is the dead bodies. The more restrictions you put yourself, the closer you are to your death.
Mm.
And I don't think anyone wants that. We want to be full of vitality, of love, and this robust ability to influence things.
And what really resonated with me when I heard about setting goals, like very specific goals, the way we are told to set specific goals. In a year, I want to have this amount of money in my account or whatever, this many clients and whatever. And when I learned that it's all driven by the ego, and it creates a conflict in your body. And the whole manifestation thing, if we start talking about the mainstream personal development thing, that's yet another whole story. But it was fascinating for me to discover that certain manifestation methods, they actually, instead of helping you, they actually cause more harm.
A lot of mainstream personal development techniques or spiritual techniques they actually cause you more harm. And there are nowadays syndromes like Kundalini syndrome, where there's too much energy in the head. When people engage with quantum meditation and they're not able to handle that energy, it damages the organs. That heat goes to your brain, gives you hallucination, but people think they're enlightened.
And also those mainstream manifestation methods, they don't consider trauma. They don't consider cellular memory. So basically, instead of going towards that goal, your body says, no, actually, run away, it's dangerous.
Like you would going in left and right direction at the same time. You will
Yeah,
get
exactly. And then you beat yourself up. Oh my God, I've been doing this. I've been doing everything they said. I've read all these books and it's not happening. What is wrong with me? And then by then,
growing the ego.
the trauma develops.
Lovely talking to you. Unfortunately, our time is running low. What is your best advice to the people listening to this podcast?
I think if this is for entrepreneurs trying to market their stuff, I want everyone to believe. And when I say believe, I want people to root who they are and do the thing that they really want. As a marketer can say, you can sell the heck out of anything you want. The marketing theory teaches us do your audience research, do market research, find a problem they haven't solved that problem. No, start with yourself and then map that to the marketplace. Because if you do not start with yourself, there is no energy. If there is no energy, there's no best marketing hook. And then when you are in that place, actually, everything becomes much, much easier because you get pulled. You don't have to force anything. You just get pulled by it.
Where can people find you?
I do mostly live on Facebook. My name, Edita Mockute. So Facebook is my home, also my website, which is editamockute.com. I have a podcast, which is called From Grind to Grace. So yeah, so these three places, whichever suits best.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you all for listening, and stay tuned for another episode.